we need to open the chassis, and so that we could put in all those things that uh, we need to put in inside of it. So on this side, I'm going to um, take all the screws off. Then whenever you're doing this in the future, or whenever you have your whenever you're building a rig and installing all the parts, you got to support the glass because it will going to um, fall sideways. So just a support we will do. Take off the glass just like that, put it somewhere safe, and then we gotta take up the other side of the panel, because the first thing that we need to do is we need to install the power supply, and then what comes after that should be the motherboard, and then we'll be installing the processor as well. Okay, then I took that off. Okay, and this is the connectors. Okay, this one is for the USB, so this needs to go in to the USB pin part. Okay, and then these small ones are for the front panel lids, such as power, and then the reset button. So we leave it there, and then we're going to get this side exposed, because like what I've said, we're going to put in the power supply first. So I'm going to get the power supply. So I do have a video of this, I mean on how to unbox this. I do have a video as well. If you want to safely unbox this, then follow that video that I made. Okay, so everything is good. This is, brand new. So we're just going to take the box off, and we're just going to take our essentials from the box. And don't forget to read things from the manual, just to make sure that we're doing things correctly. We don't want to fry anything. Okay, and so I need my chair. Okay, so you just gotta follow the logo as well. So the logo comes from this direction, and then you gotta insert it. Something is blocking the way, and it's the cable. So if everything is like okay, we gotta screw in, and the just we need to make sure that everything is aligned, and then after which we gotta screw in those screws. So, and this one came from the box, from the power supply box. So there's 4 of it, and I just need to find my Phillips screw, okay, so that I could put in this. babies properly. So the first thing that we do is we do the bottom part. It should stabilize the position uh, from the ground going up. Okay, and that's not going in. Okay, we need to make sure that everything is aligned. Okay, we don't want to force the screw in into the hole that, you know, that's not an good position. And then the next thing that we need to do is the upper side. So this should give us stability, at least the minimum stability that we need. Okay, so press in the power supply from the back, going forward, going to your side. Okay, just make sure that everything is intact and stable. So screw that in, and yeah, that's okay. Not so tight, okay, because it will ruin the chassis paint. We don't want to do that. And then now it's stable. You don't need to, you know, give the power supply support. So this is the DC part. You just put in the screws, and we were able to establish a stability in the first two screws that we put in. So that's a nice thing. So the part that I did was, like, to gain stability, you get the bottom left side of no right side of the screw, and then the upper side to get stability. And then the next one would be like that. Okay, now on this side, the power cable is like messy at first, so we need to um organize that. And for us to do so, we're going to pick um the okay, we're going to uh, untie it. Okay, and then we're going to pick the 24 pin, and then the 8 pin for the uh, 24 pin for the motherboard pin, and then 8 pin for the CPU uh, pin, or to power up the CPU, and 24 pin is to power up the whole motherboard. Okay, so this should be it. 2468. This is for the CPU, and then this one is for the motherboard. Okay, so we're going to get those things that we're going to put in, and then we're going to uh, do a cable management, after which to make sure that everything is properly aligned and connected to their designated ports. Okay, so I separated the two main lines, and so just to guide you guys on how to do it on the other cables. So again, that was the uh, lines or cable that I separated, was the 24 pin and then the 8 pin. 24 for the motherboard and 8 pin for the processor. Okay, and this one should go to the um, HDD and SDD um, storage device. Okay, so you need to give them power, and then at the other side of it, so I'm missing. Just give me a second so that I could find my um HDD. Where did I put that? Okay, I found my HDD um storage. So I was saying that, this cable is for the HDD and then SDD. So at the back of the HDD, or even the SDD, or SSD rather, there should be um, ports like this. Okay, so this part, this is where we put in this part. This is to power or give the HDD a power. Okay, so just to show you how you need to, or you have to put that in. So you just put that in like that and press it and until it click, and then after which you gotta put in the connection or the connector. There should be a cable in the inside of the chassis, or inside of the motherboard. We'll be connecting that from this side, if you can see that, going to the motherboard port, SATA port. Okay, so let's take that off. I did that just to show you how you guys are going to use the that cable, that setup cable. Then the other, um, this is a Molex. So if you want to manually turn on your fan and put it to the maximum performance, you can connect an adapter to it, to this Molex, and connect the other end to the uh, fan. It should put the fan. It should put the fan on maximum performance. Or, well, there's a designated um, ports in the motherboard where you could connect the uh, fan, CPU fan as well. It should, and later on you could tweak those. I mean, the settings of the fan. Um, well, some people prefer the Molex adapter to get the maximum input, or maximum output rather, from the fan. And then there are some like me that uses the port from the motherboard to connect the fan. That way you could regulate the fan's performance according to what the motherboard's temperature is. Well, this is for multiple, um if you do have like a lot of, um there are some chassis that support multiple HDD, like two HDD and two SDD, or SSD rather. I keep mixing that up. So this are for those. If you do have multiple um, SSD and HDD, you can power them up using this cable. Now, for me, I'm going to tie this up because I don't have um, SSD as of the moment, so I'll be using just this line. Okay, so since I'll be using that, I'm going to put that in the side and in this side. So this is where the 24 pin and 8 pin is lying in, and then those cables that I'm not going to use will going to be put in here, and then I'm going to um I'm going to hide them like this. So this is not the preferred um will tie, because in some instance it can connect like these bad boys and the motherboard, or it could just like fall into the motherboard and short circuit everything from there. So the preferred um, cable that we should use should be the plastic thingy. Any plastic would do, but I prefer the this kind of plastic. I don't know what this plastic, or the name, or what you call this, but I prefer this type of, you know, plastic. It's not conductive, so it will not going to harm your motherboard even if it fell. So yeah, so just to double check everything. So um we have the 24 pin, and then we have the 8 pin, 8 pin, okay, for the CPU and motherboard. This is the second option. uh an 8 pin as well. I prefer to use this instead of that first one. And then uh this line that should power on the storage devices. Okay, so I'm going to get this, going to separate this, and then I'm going to do a quick check of things. I'm going to connect the motherboard first and see how everything will going to work. So that's the first thing that you need to do when you're managing a cable. Okay, you separate those things that you don't need and those things that you do need. So to tie the inside of your chassis, tie it up. And so I'm just lacking something. So I'm going to put that away with something. I'm going to purchase, something like these, smaller side of these. And I'm going to put this away and put that on the side of the CD-ROM. I don't have an optical drive, so I'll be putting this into that part to hide it. Okay. And then we're going to put in the motherboard.